So let me share like a professional story with y'all. So I remember my first real job out of college. I worked as a drafter for a telecommunications company. And that actually was my introduction to the telecommunications fiber industry, which I have worked almost about 12, 13 years there. So my first job there, I remember, being this drafter and wanting to move up. So I had an opportunity to become like a fiber engineer within that company. And the requirement was you had to take a written test, so just general engineering questions. You had to pass that test with a certain score. So I took time out to drive all the way to that office where the test was given at. Took my time out, drive there. I think I was the only person at that time taking the test, so I was in a room by myself. So just going through the questions, I was a little nervous about it, but I did do a little studying. So trying to just answer the best of my ability. So when I got back, I had to wait for a couple weeks or something like that, to see what my results gonna be. I remember going to lunch. When I came back, I had to sign on my computer that, hey, you passed. So knowing that I passed, that I had to wait to get all the information, everything in. To HR to make sure that things would work out. But around that time, they were going through a layoff. So the thing was that if you were the most recently hired engineer, you had to be laid off. So that time, I thank God that He covered me during that time. So I was still a contractor there. I wasn't losing my job. So of course, went about, my work, just continued to work there. So around that time, I also got pregnant with my son. So I remember, after I had my son, was on maternity leave, that's time to go back to work. So coming back into the office, trying to get, back into the swing of things, I remember overhearing one of my coworkers say to another person, hey, she will never be an engineer because she went and got pregnant. Now, you might think that, okay, that's a really kind of major, crazy statement to make, but those words really did stick with me because I thought just by me having a child outside of wedlock and being, now that single mother, a couple months after my son was born, that I thought I couldn't really do anything and that, the knowledge that I gained, like it wasn't worth anything. So just even hearing those words from her is that, I started to feel down, a little low, kind of question, my own skill sets. And throughout my time within the telecommunications industry, I have encountered people that question my qualifications and that question the knowledge and skill sets that I had. And I found myself at times just making myself feel low, making myself feel small, just to please their egos. I pretend like I didn't know nothing, like I couldn't do anything, just I guess to prove their point because I didn't want to put up a fight. I didn't want to just stand up for myself. But I also had to realize I was doing this service to myself. And now, where I'm at now, like I'm no longer in the telecommunications industry. I'm trying to switch over to something new, so something different. Right now I'm working in civil engineering right now. So trying to work through that so I'll be able to, step into, more of my passion. And, currently pursuing my PhD, strategic media. So just having all that, going on. So when I think back to that situation, it just made me just, kind of just realize that people can be wrong about you. They don't always have like the right view of who you are. Like they don't always know like the type of person that you are. They're just going off of what they see or what someone else said or some other gossip or latest news, but haven't really sat down to get to know you and to understand the type of person you are. And you have to just be careful about the words that you receive. Now, yes, sometimes we do make mistakes, and I understand we have people that like to point that out. But that doesn't mean that that has to be, the whole story of your life. You can overcome things. You can get through things. Me being a single parent, like I have never been on welfare. I never had to depend on anyone to help raise my son. Now I do co-parenting, and co-parenting is one of those things that I have, worked through, with patience and sometimes not with patience, but it's working out. So, just learning like, more things about myself and just see myself overcome some things is like how I allow that one statement to just throw me off like that. So hopefully that helps somebody.